Hello, good afternoon. Welcome back to Football League World TV. It's time for another episode of The Debate, and here we're debating and grading each Championship club's transfer window. It is, of course, the day after deadline day. Time to look back at what deals were done, what deals fell through as well over the course of January. I'm your host, George Dagless, and joining me this afternoon to do just that is Billy Mulley. Billy, how are you?
Yeah, all good, thank you. Yeah, as you say, a manic day full of all transfers, all deals coming off the wheels as well. It was all going on, so yeah, I'm looking forward to diving back in and looking at it because yeah, you didn't really get too much time to reflect on it yesterday.
And that certainly didn't hardly room to breathe yesterday. Wherever you're watching, people at home, do get in touch. Let us know what you made of your club's business in the Championship over the last few weeks, and grade it if you can across Facebook, YouTube and Twitter for the next 20 or so minutes. But enough introduction, let's get into it. We'll go in alphabetical order, and that means Billy will start with Afc Bournemouth. Finish the window with a flourish as well. The likes of Nathaniel Phillips joined on loan from Liverpool, Todd Cantwell coming in from Norwich, and then earlier on in the month as well, the likes of Ethan Laird joined from Manchester United, and then of course perhaps the biggest signing of all was Kiefer Moore from Cardiff. The Cherries very busy, Billy, making quite a statement ahead of the rest of the season. How would you grade their business?
I think ultimately it's a big statement from them in terms of the sheer amount of deals that they've done this month, and in terms of the quality as well. It's a massive statement. It's basically trying to steer control of this promotion race, and I think they've done exactly that. Very good players that they've brought in. They started it off with James Hill and Ethan Laird. James Hill, a really exciting prospect, and Ethan Laird obviously shown excellence at Swansea during the first half of the season. So in that respect, yeah, it started well, and then yesterday was just manic in terms of the quality they were able to add to the squad. I think that should bode really well for them, but at the same time, big expectations, probably big wage bill now. So if they do not achieve what they set out, then it's going to be quite disappointed for them. But yeah, just purely looking on what they've done, and in terms of not too many big names going out either, it's probably a minus from me.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to give it a B plus. I think the only sort of detraction from it was there's lots of different players going in there with different playing styles. So do all of them match what Scott Parker wants? Then on the flip side, you've obviously got to think that gives Bournemouth extra options now, extra dynamics, both defensively and go forwards. If it can all click, there's every chance you could grade that up to an A or even an A plus. We'll see what happens in the coming months at Bournemouth as they eye promotion from the Championship. Up next, we're going to talk Barnsley. Quiet window, I think it's fair to say. Domingos Quina was perhaps the headline arrival, if you want to describe it that way. And we'll have to see how he does. Obviously struggled at Fulham on loan from Watford in the first half of the season. How would you rank the Tykes window, Billy?
Probably a steady C. As you say, Domingos Quina coming in late, I think that's probably saved it from being a D or an E, because it's quite underwhelming apart from that. But I think Quina's definitely got the ability to shine at Championship level. Obviously didn't get too much time at Watford when they were in the Championship last year, and didn't get too much time at Fulham given the sheer amount of quality options they've got. So it's a opportunity for him to play regularly at a club that really do need a creative outlet. So in that respect, yeah, I think it's a good deal. I think getting a player who brings that sort of attacking drive and has got that final third quality, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how he does. And didn't lose Callum Styles or Cauley Woodrow either, so I guess that's always a positive. So yeah, I'll go for a steady C for Barnsley.
Okay, I'm going to be a little bit harsher than you, Billy. I think Barnsley needs to do a lot more in the window. I really do fear for them now in terms of their Championship survival. Good point you make. Managed to keep some of their better players, of course, and that's one good thing going for them. But they needed to add, and I think definitely needed to add more than they did. So I'm going to go for a D minus for Barnsley. Obviously, if they end up earning survival, perhaps we can change that. But at the moment, you have to say the squad's probably needed a bit more than what they got. Let's move to Birmingham City now, Billy. Very busy window for them. Lee Bowyer got plenty of signings in, the likes of Janino Bacuna, Lyle Taylor, of course, Ted Mengi as well joining on. joined earlier on in the window. Ono Hernandez coming in. I'd say quite a productive window for the Blues, wouldn't you?
Yeah, very productive. And I was fearing for them when Riley McGree was recalled and then sent to Middlesbrough. Obviously, Dean Sanderson went back as well, and Tahith Chong, another creative outlet that is injured at the moment. So that's another player unavailability. So in terms of what they have managed to bring in since then, yeah, it looks very good. Tiedemann Mengi, like a direct replacement for Sanderson, and from what I've seen so far, has been very, very solid for them, and is probably going to be a big part as the season progresses. Ono Hernandez and Bakuna, both players with sort of that attacking drive. They can be creative outlets and attacking threats. And then Lyle Taylor, obviously, we know how good he is at this level, and it's sometimes quite harsh that he didn't get the sufficient amount of game time at Nottingham Forest, but he's come to Birmingham. I think he can be an integral player there. So, yeah, I like what they've done in what could have been not a disastrous month, but it could have been quite a bad month if they hadn't replaced the players that had to depart. So, yeah, I think B+ is my assessment on Birmingham City's transfer window.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm pretty close to agreeing with you there, Billy. I'm going to go for just a straight B for Birmingham. Obviously, we'll see what impact all those signs have. But obviously, Lyle Taylor to start with started really nicely at the weekend. So we'll go for a B for Birmingham. Moving away from the Blues, let's talk Blackburn Rovers next. Some interesting signings, certainly signs that you think could help them along in their promotion push in the Championship. Dylan Markandy obviously joining from Tottenham. That looks a particularly eye-catching signing. Ryan Hedges eventually as well joined Rovers right towards the end of the window. Ryan Giles has joined on loan from Wolves, and Derviso Zayfalk as well from Hertha Berlin joined on loan. Some interesting signings there, Billy. How would you grade Blackburn's window?
Yeah, it's contrasting to Bournemouth. You think they're sort of on the same boat at the moment in terms of pushing for promotion, and Bournemouth have really gone for it. Blackburn a little bit more reserved, but good business. I think Ben Brereton Diaz is massive staying. I think that ultimately that points them into a good direction and leaves them in a just as good place, because if he had departed, I think that could have been not disastrous again, because Blackburn have proven over the recent windows that they can deal well in the absence of key players. So, that they've brought in quality. I think Seafout coming in, seeing him the other day at Luton, very, very good player. Exciting to see what else he brings. Dylan Markanday, I think that's very, very unfortunate, his injury, because he's been very, very impressive in Tottenham's under-23s and came with a bit of excitement around him. So, yeah, seeing him out for a while is quite disappointing in that respect. And then Ryan Hedges, it'd be exciting to see what he does. Another player that's been performing really well in the Scottish Premiership. I think Blackburn have been after him for a while, so securing that deal, I think could be massive for them. So, yeah, all in all, I'm quite impressed with what Blackburn had done. The fact that Bournemouth have done so much, I don't want to try and make that alter my opinion, so I'm going to go for a B.
Okay, I'm going to go for an A for Blackburn. I think they've made some pretty clever, shrewd signs, just added where they needed to, perhaps. Haven't changed too much, haven't lost any key players as well. Obviously, you mentioned Brereton Diaz as well, Billy. There's plenty of speculation around him, so keeping hold of him is obviously going to be huge for Blackburn. So they're still looking pretty strong in terms of the promotion challenge, which is obviously what they would have wanted at the start of this month. Let's talk Blackpool next. Owen Dale eventually came back from Crewe. Charlie Kirk's arrived as well from Charlton on loan with view to a permanent. How would you rate the Tangerines window?
Yeah, I'm quite impressed with what they've done. I think going back to the summer window, people were quite cautious of what they'd done because it wasn't too much Championship quality, and I guess this follows a similar trend. Owen Dale on a permanent, yeah, I'm excited to see how he gets on, sort of more consistent game time. Charlie Kirk as well, didn't get too much game time at Charlton, but still an exciting prospect from playing really, really well and contributing lots of goals and assists with Crewe. So, yeah, I think that's going to be one that he'll have to be gradually brought into the side. I don't think he'll make much of an impact immediately, but I think that the key thing for Blackpool was keeping Josh Bowler. that turned out to be pretty much the story of the window, and the fact that they've managed to keep him, I think's massive. And yeah, in that respect, I think the incomings weren't too exciting, but at the same time, keeping Bowler I think is massive. So yeah, I'm going to go for a C.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to go at C plus. I think that Bowler factor is very important for Blackpool, and they've just added in places, signs that Neil Critchley likes to bring in. It's obviously worked for him in the past. There's no reason why it shouldn't in the future as well. Let's move to Bristol City. A quiet window really for the Robins. There's a lot of speculation, obviously, yesterday in particular. Plenty of clubs going in for some of their players, but ultimately the likes of Antoine Semenyo and Nahki Wells remained at Ashton Gate. Tim Closer arrived during the window, made his debut not too long ago in Billy, and it seemed to do a pretty decent job as well. What do you make of the Robins market?
Yeah, I think defensively they were in for someone, and bringing that in has been the pretty much the story of their window, and keeping integral players. I think that contributes to a very good window for them because of the interest in their quality players. Semenyo, obviously, a player that's turned in form in recent weeks and looks unplayable at the moment. Casey Palmer as well. I know he's on the fringes of things, but he's a player that I still feel has the quality to impact at Championship level. And if he can get back into the side, I'm sure he'll take his chance. Nahki Wells as well came on against Luton the other day, and I could not believe he wasn't starting because he changed the game, and he's a player who's always had that Championship quality. And he should get a run of starts, I feel, at the moment. So keeping them three, I think, could be massive. And I'm going to go for a C plus because keeping the players that they have done is good for them, but at the same time, there's nothing too extraordinary in terms of the incomings.
Yeah, a quiet window, as we mentioned, so quite hard to grade it in many ways, but kept some key players, kept some good players, and obviously Tim Closer is at least one fairly decent addition, so I'm going to go with a C for Bristol City as well. Moving on to Cardiff, a lot busier in the window. The likes of Cody Drammer come in on loan, Tommy Doyle on loan as well, Alfie Doughty's arrived, Jordan Hugill too, and Uche Ikpeazu towards the end of the window. Cardiff were busy. Billy, do you think they've done a good job?
Yeah, I've been very impressed with what Cardiff have done. I think in terms of their squad, you look at them and think, how are they competing in and around the relegation zone at the moment? But I think they've added where they needed to. They've added quality, very good ball playing players, which I think has been missing for a while, to be fair. So yeah, adding Doyle, I think, is going to be a very good signing. Alfie Doughty as well, I think, is another good one. Kiefer Moore departing, and obviously Ryan Giles as well. Two massive attacking threats for them. So replacing them with Hugill and Ikpeazu, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm a big Ikpeazu fan, and Hugill looks like already that he's settling in well, and getting a goal is going to be massive for his confidence. So overall, I've been really, really impressed, and I expect from purely looking at the business they've done in January that they'll start to climb the table and get themselves out of contention for going down. So A-, I'm going to give them.
Okay, yeah, I think Cardiff have done a pretty good job as well. Obviously, losing the likes of Kiefer Moore was never going to be ideal. It eventually did happen. I'm going to give them a B overall, though. I think they've done a pretty decent job of sort of responding to those exits they knew were coming with the players they've managed to sign. So, as you mentioned, Billy, they'll be looking to use this window or the window just gone as a springboard for the rest of the season, climb themselves up the Championship table. Let's talk Coventry City next. Jake Bidwell, perhaps the headline for their window overall. Tyler Walker going out on loan to Portsmouth as well. Josh Pask as well leaving, going to Newport County on loan. But let's talk Bidwell. I guess a solid signing, Billy, just a little bit of extra cover for Coventry. What do you make of their market?
Yeah, it's one of those that I know that there wasn't much talk about players going out, but they do have some very, very good players within that squad that, to me, seem quite marketable. Seem that they could have generated some transfer talk, but they haven't in this window. I'm sure that might change in January. But yeah, I've been impressed with what they've done. sometimes doing little could be quite big for a club, and I think that's the kind of trend that Coventry have followed, obviously in and around that playoff picture as well. So keeping a settled team could be very big. We speak about the likes of Bournemouth and Hull, that I'm sure we'll get onto soon, have done lots of business, exciting business, but that could disrupt sort of the flow of the team. And so I think in that respect, keeping the squad together, there's obviously something going well within the Coventry camp this season. So keeping that squad together and adding a little bit of quality, a little bit of depth, I think is very good from a Coventry perspective, and a good reason as to why I'll give them a B.
Okay, I'm going to give them a C. I don't think they've necessarily done anything wrong in the window. They perhaps could have added a little bit more, but like you say, they managed to keep the core of their team together, which has obviously, worked for them pretty well so far this season. So no reason for them to be too worried about what's going to come in the rest of the campaign. Let's move to Derby County. It's obviously quite hard to grade what went on with the Rams. We know that the problems that were at the club and why they weren't really able to do any business. One player that I guess you can call a signing in some ways is Luke Plange. He was signed by Crystal Palace towards the end of the window. He comes back on loan. It's more about the outgoings though, isn't it, Billy, really? The likes of David Marshall and Phil Jagielka left on frees. Graham Shinnie's gone to Wigan. Not a great market for the Rams, and I guess, it was to be expected, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm going to give them an E, which is, they're operating under these constraints, so it's no reflection on what they possibly could have done. It's more just looking at the sheer quality that's left. Graham Shinnie going to League One, I still can't believe that happened. He's such a good player, and it's everything that he brings. It's his passing ability, vision, his experience. I think he's had a big part to play in the development of the younger players as well. Jagielka in a similar boat in terms of his importance in the team, and David Marshall not as much, but he has been in recent years. Luke Plange coming back is obviously very good for them. I know Crystal Palace sort of getting a late deal for him could have had hearts racing a little bit, but the fact that he's coming back on loan is good for them. He's a real exciting player. I guess the opportunity of some of these more experienced players leaving is that I think they've got one of the best academies in England, and we've seen that this year with the sheer quality coming through. Thompson in previous years, Max Bird as well, and Luke Plange as well. Some very, very talented players coming through, so it gives more of an opportunity for these players to continue to come through. And in that respect, it's a little bit of an opportunity. Derby have been dealing very, very well with setbacks this year, and whilst this might be an E, just looking at the outgoings, I'm sure that they'll battle on, and I really do feel like they can stay up this year. I've got every bit of faith, and I'm sure they'll deal with this latest setback quite well as well.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, that low grade, Billy, but obviously it's, extenuating circumstances that caused it in many respects. And let's move to Fulham. A pretty quiet window at Craven Cottage, although it was obviously very hectic towards the end. Nico Williams arrived on loan from Liverpool. Dennis Adoy has left the club permanently. He's gone to Club Bruges. Cyrus Christie's gone on loan to Swansea. Stephen Sessegnon's gone on loan to Plymouth. And obviously Fabio Carvalho looked like he was going to Liverpool, but the deal fell through right towards the end of the market. Billy, Fulham didn't really need to add in many ways, did they? They've got such a quality team. How would you grade their window, though?
I'd go for a B. You think back to before January even started, Mitrovic was being linked with Juventus, and you thought this is actually doable because he's scoring at this alarming rate. But going back to Carvalho as well, the fact that he's stayed, obviously another quality player. You look at the Fulham squad, and he's one of the best Championship squads, if not the best, in the last sort of 5-10 years in terms of the depth of quality. Nico Williams coming in, he's a player that can play right back and left back. He's got real attacking edge and contributes with goals and assists as well. So he's got this real good attacking output. Got my reservations about him defensively, but he's young still. He's 20 years old, and coming into Marco Silva's side, it could be a good opportunity for him to develop defensively as well. But all in all, a good window for Fulham, and it's exciting to see when they'll win the league by, because it just seems inevitable now, doesn't it? I'm going to go. I forgot to give a grade. I'll go B again.
Okay, yeah, I think I'll probably agree with you there. It's good for them as well that they're obviously going to have Carvalho to the end of the season. Did look like he was going to come back to Fulham on loan from Liverpool had that deal gone through, but that's all academic now. So Fulham keeping their key members well inside the team after the January window. Let's talk Huddersfield now, Billy. Jamal Blackman's arrived. Carroll Aitlin's returned. Tino Angerin as well, coming in on loan from Chelsea. What do you make of Huddersfield's window?
Yeah, it's again similar to Coventry. Not too many incomings, but it's a settled squad again, and pushing for playoffs. That could bode well for them. Carroll Whiting, I think, he's a brilliant signing. Really enjoyed watching him in a Huddersfield shirt during his first spell with the club, and he's that technically gifted player that Huddersfield can look for a different kind of avenue to goal. A lot has come from their wide players this season. Having sort of a more central option adds another string to the bow for Huddersfield going forward. I think Jamal Blackman as well. He'll provide good competition for Lee Nichols. Whether he can emerge victorious and start regularly, I think that remains to be seen. I think Nichols, looking on paper, might just edge that battle, but again, good competition which will push both, and whoever gets the start either way. In that respect, I'll go for a B+ at Huddersfield.
Okay, yeah, I'm thinking similar to you really there, Billy. I think Huddersfield have just made some little clever signings. I think the Eiting one is a particularly good one. Obviously, Huddersfield fans pleased to see him back. I'm going to go for a B for the Terriers. Let's talk Hull City. Obviously, it was a month of change for the new ownership. Grant McCann leaving as well. Some of the signings: Ryan Longman coming in from Brighton, Regan Slater, Ali Arsad Manesh, I think I've said his name. Okay, Marcus Force, I think, is a particularly eye-catching one on loan from Brentford, and Liam Walsh also coming in from Swansea. Not a bad window actually for the Tigers in the end, was it?
Yeah, I think it's my highest one. Yeah, I'm going to give an A. I really like what they've done. Regan Slater, after the summer, a player that I had been chasing for a while, and then it's actually, I think it was the new manager's first signing as well. I don't think it was Grant McCann. So I think it's something that's come from above, something that the whole sort of a board level have been keen to do. Marcus Force, as you say, real eye-catching signing. He's got that pace and intelligent running to get him behind. He had that sort of amazing record in the Championship last season. Every time he came on, he seemed to score, and he really helped in the early stages at Brentford. So I'm looking forward to seeing him play consistent football. I think he can be brilliant, whether he plays off a bigger striker like Tom Eaves, or if he's trusted there by himself, it'll be a real learning curve for him, and it could be a really productive spell for him. It's some real eye-catching signings, and it's this new direction Hull going in makes them a quite a scary prospect to come up against, because they've got this identity now, and the players coming in, it all seems to be coming together for them.
I think Hull eventually had a pretty good win. I'm going to give it A-. Keeping lots of King Lewis Potter around is obviously going to be important. Hull managed to keep a lot of their good players at the club in January, and have managed to add some pretty eye-catching signings as well. As I mentioned, particularly intrigued to see how Marcus Force is going to do there. Let's move on from Hull. Let's talk Lewton Town now. Billy, your team. What did you make of the Hatters window? A pretty quiet one.
Yeah, I think Nathan Jones always goes in with the mindset of leaving a window in slightly better shape, and I think that we're right in saying that. Simon Sluga had he was into his last 6 months of his contract, making this the ideal time to sell him. I think we've got some of the club record fee that we paid for him back, which is quite good. I think I saw 500,000 quoted. I'm not entirely sure how truthful that is, but I think that's quite good for us. Bringing in Jed Steer, a player that's helped his club to Championship promotion before. Really like the signing. Spoken really well on the club website. Really excited to see how he fits in, and if he can dethrone James Shea, because James Shea has stepped up a gear, I think, in recent weeks and left Sion Sluga as number 2. So I'm interested to see how that dynamic plays out. A lot of rumours coming into deadline day about an attacking midfielder. Never really happened. I think Harvey White at Spurs, Elliot Anderson at Newcastle eventually went to Bristol Rovers, and Luke Freeman seemed to be sort of a marquee signing should that have happened. But I think a deal might even be in for Millwall, as even though we're past the deadline. I think they're still working on that. So I think Jones probably identified that attacking midfield role as something that, if possible, we would have liked to have added to. But all in all, I think Luton can be quite proud of another good window. I think it's now countless windows where they've left themselves in a better shape than they've started it. I'm going to give Luton a B again.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to agree with you there, Billy. Luton certainly haven't come out of it weaker, I don't think, and sometimes that's the sign of a better window than anything else. No sort of major exits, obviously Sluga leaving, but getting in Jed Steele, I think, is a pretty decent replacement. Let's move to Middlesbrough. Riley McGree coming in, Aaron Connolly on loan as well. Following Balogun too, coming on loan from Arsenal. Chris Wilder's first window in charge of Middlesbrough, Billy. We saw a few exits as well, the likes of Uche Ikpeazu, who we've mentioned, and Hayden Coulson left as well. What do you make of what happened on Teesside?
On paper, I think it looks really good in Teesside, as you say. Some good high caliber players coming in. The departures, haven't been too integral to first team. Obviously, Hayden Coulson spending the first half of the season at Ipswich. So they have strengthened. They've come out the window the other side, and you think of what Chris Wilder has done with a squad that's not his. Now he's had the chance to bring in his players, and he's obviously a manager that's seen success in this division before. So I really feel that they've done the right business to go on and at least be in contention for the promotion picture as the season progresses. Balogun particularly impresses me. He seems to be a very highly rated prospect amongst Arsenal fans, which is also a very good bracket to be considered under. And then Connolly as well has done his business in the Premier League before. So it's some very, very good signs. As I said before, how impressed I've been with Riley McGree. So that creative outlet and another direct sort of central avenue towards goal. I think that's going to be crucial for them. All in all, I'll probably give them an A-.
Okay, I'm going to go B+. I think Chris Wilder's obviously been getting a tune out of that Middlesbrough squad anyway before the window, so probably felt he didn't need to add too much going into this market. But some of the signs he has made are pretty eye-catching ones, I think, particularly for Championship level. Let's move to Millwall, Billy. I'm tempted to give Millwall a C, kind of a run of the mill, really. I think obviously good that Jed Wallace has ended up staying at least for a little bit longer, but not too much in the way of incomings. Ollie Burke was one, obviously. I guess he's one that the jury always seems to be out when he arrives at a new club, but potentially he could do really well there. But it's always a bit of a coin toss with him.
Yeah, I'm tempted to go C, but I'm going to go C-. I think it was a good opportunity for Millwall to get themselves back into the playoff picture. Obviously, not operating with one of the highest budgets in the league, but I think casting their net into lower leagues can sometimes reap rewards in this division, and I think that could have been a way that Millwall could have gone. I think Jed Wallace is the best thing to come out the window. Said before that I think they're still trying to work on a deal for Luke Freeman. Late last night, I think the whole sort of paperwork issue might have prevented it happening from then. I don't know whether they'll be able to confirm that sign, and I think that would completely change things. As you say, Ollie Burke, a player that very 50-50 when he comes to a club. Obviously got the talent, he's got that pace, and got all these desirable attributes, but sometimes just doesn't seem to work out for him. So hopefully he can prove the 50 that do not think that he'll come on and do a good job and play a good role in what remains of the season. So yeah, I think I'll just go for C-.
Okay. Nottingham Forest were busy as they so often are. Steve Cooper bringing in the likes of Richie Larea, Steve Cook, Sam Surridge, Jonathan Panzo, and Keenan Davis. The likes of João Carvalho and of course Lyle Taylor left the club. I think I'd probably be tempted to give Forest a B plus. I quite like some of the business that they've done. Billy, how would you grade it?
Yeah, I'm a similar line of thinking. Keenan Davis having an instant impact as I thought he would. I don't know how he's the quality that Aston Villa have is what's preventing him from playing in the Premier League. But I think he's a top level Championship player who could be massive in Forest's expected promotion push. Steve Cook as well, another very good signing, adds experience to a relatively young back line, especially with Jonathan Panzo coming in now and with Joe Worrell injured for a while. I think that could be a very good signing considering Steve Cooper's excellence with younger players in the past, what he's done at Swansea and with the England youth team as well. I think Jonathan Panzo coming in is a very good option, and keeping Brennan Johnson, keeping Jed Spence to sort of eye-catching things at the window. I'm really excited for what Nottingham Forest can do in the rest of the season. I think I forgot what I originally said, but I'll go for B plus and hope that's what I said when I started talking about Forest.
Okay. You can always upgrade or downgrade them, but I think that's about right, to be honest, Billy. Let's talk Peterborough United next. Quite busy for the posh. Barley Moon were coming in quite early on. Callum Morton arriving as well, on loan from West Brom. Reece Brown back at the club. Leandro Fuchs as well, joining from Dundee United. Few exits as well. Probably the most high profile, of course, who we've touched on is Siriki Dembele, who joined Bournemouth. How would you rank the Posh's window, Billy? Have they done enough, do you think, to stay up?
I think I'll go for, again, C-. I think Siriki Dembele will sort of leave that creative void. I think those at Peterborough feel that Kwame Poku can sort of fill that role. But some of the business they've done is quite good, but I've seen a lot of comments say that they're preparing for a good season in League One, like Leandro Fuchs, I think could be a good signing, but whether he's Championship level, that remains to be seen. Bali Mumba as well, I think it's a good enough signing. Callum Morton again. I think the jury's out. I think we don't know enough about him yet to judge whether he can have that much of an impact at Championship level. But I think one of the key things at the window for them as well was Oliver Norburn. I think wanted to leave for family reasons and obviously staying, and he's had conversations with those at Peterborough, and he's in the right place now to keep on competing and to keep on going. I think he's been very good for them this season, and he could be key in helping them stay up. I think we talk about the bottom three at the moment as if it's all sort of done and dusted, but I think Peterborough, should they make Western Home Stadium a fortress, that it could be the difference. And keeping a player like Norburn with his experience and talent, I think that could swing things in their favour should it come that close.
Okay, I'm going to go for a C. I think the Dembele exit obviously outweighs or balances out some of the signings that they made. Let's talk Preston North End next. Cameron Archer coming in on loan from Aston Villa, and the likes of Jordan Story left on loan, joined Sheffield Wednesday. Fairly quiet at Deepdale. Billy, do you think Ryan Lowe has done enough?
Yeah, I'm interested to see how it all plays out. You've seen managers this window that is their first window, sort of go all out and try and sign a load of players. But I think Ryan Lowe's quite content with his squads. I think their lack of business shows how content he is and that he is getting the best out of them at the moment. Cameron Archer, I think, is a real exciting signing, scoring bundles of goals for Villa's under 23s and for the under 21s in the EFL Trophy as well. So yeah, I think he's a very, very exciting signing. Not many, if any, integral first teamers departing. So all in all, it's a good window. I'll go for a C+.
Okay. I'm also going to go for a C plus for North End. Let's move to Queen's Park Rangers. Quite busy in that part of West London. David Marshall arriving, Dion Sanderson in on loan from Wolves. Jeff Hendrick comes in on loan as well. In terms of exits, Jordi Device probably the major one, leaving on loan, joining Fortuna Dusseldorf. Billy, I think QPR have done some pretty good business there, adding some pretty good quality for the Championship in some key areas on the pitch. I'll probably go for a B plus for the Hoops. What do you think?
I'm happy they didn't sign Jamie Patterson, because I don't think you couldn't have made a reason for them to have Chris Willock, Elias Chair, and all Jamie Patterson as well. Trying to fit them all in the team would have been, an impossible task. So I'm glad they steered clear of that in the end. Dion Sanderson, I think, is a very good signing. I think he would have bolstered pretty much every defence in the Championship. He's a real exciting talent that displayed that this year for Birmingham. Interesting to see how his situation pans out in the future. I'm sure he'll play the Premier League and even onto international stage as well. I think he's a very, very good player. So yeah, it's quite steady. I think at QPR, as I said before, they find themselves in that sort of bracket just behind Bournemouth and Blackburn. They are chasing automatic promotion, but they haven't gone hell for leather and spent a lot of money and brought a lot of loans in. They're content with their squad, and yeah, I think that's the message. It's sort of, you can go one or two ways. You can either be content with your squad and just build it slightly and get there, or you can make these massive changes and hope to see the reward straight away. And I think QPR are the former here. That they've just made slight improvements to the squad, and I'm sure they'll be battling for automatic promotion as the season goes on. So yeah, go for a B.
Okay, let's move on to Reading. Obviously they're not able to spend massive amounts of money. The signings they did make: Carl Hine joining on loan from Arsenal, the young goalkeeper; Tom Ince as well, arriving late on. And we obviously saw Liam Moore moving the other way, going on loan to Stoke City. Obviously Andy Carroll left as well. His contract there come to an end. He ended up moving to West Brom. And George Puskas has joined Pisa on loan as well, with Rafael Cabral moving to Cruzeiro. I wouldn't say a particularly great window for Reading, Billy. I'd probably give it a D, perhaps. What would you say?
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. As you say, I think the best bit of business this month is Swift staying. I think that's the only thing saving it from an E and an F, because I wouldn't say underwhelming signings. Cole Hine, I can't say I know too much about him, so obviously quality to be coming through the Arsenal setup, and Tom Ince is a player has shown some good quality for Stoke in recent weeks. A player who's done a similar thing, coming on loan to Luton last time, but didn't really get the game time to justify the move. But I think coming to Reading, the sort of the situation they're in, he'll get the game time to really showcase his ability. I think he is still a quality player. It's just getting the most out of him week in, week out. I think he can still have that impact in the final third. As you say, Puskas leaving, hasn't had the best of times in recent years at Reading. But yeah, another opportunity for him. I think, yeah, as you say, D's probably best for Reading. Nothing worrying, but at the same time, nothing to suggest that they'll be fine for the next sort of few months.
Let's move to Sheffield United. Alan Davis coming in, the goalkeeper. Charlie Good as well, joining on loan from Brentford. That could be potentially a good signing. Ollie Burke leaving. We've obviously mentioned him moving to Millwall. Leeds Mousset has moved as well to Salernitana in Italy on loan. Fairly quiet, I suppose, for the Blades, Billy, but then they're probably, as a sense, they didn't need to add too much. They've got a very good squad there, haven't they?
Yeah, I'd say outside probably the top 2 or 3, Sheffield United probably do have the best squad in the division. I think that they've still got a lot of Premier League quality around, and sort of young players coming through as well. Charlie Good, I think, is a a very decent signing. A bit more athletic, a bit more sort of trusted on the ball as well. I'm looking forward to seeing how he gets on. Another player at Brentford who hasn't really got too much game time, but I feel like he does need this kind of move to bridge that gap from lower league football as he was playing with Northampton to not playing too much in the Premier League. I think this could be a very good opportunity in his career to impress and then go on to hopefully succeed with Brentford, should that be how they view everything going. As you say, Mousse going, I think it's probably a good time to depart with him, get him off the wage list. I think he's probably a good thing for all involved. He does have that quality, but he didn't show it consistently enough to justify him sticking around. So yeah, it's a good enough window, but at the same time, nothing that makes you think, wow, they're going to go on and have this sort of surge up the table and contend for the automatics. But at the same time, that they should be comfortable challenging for the playoffs. So I'll go for a B-.
Okay, I'm going to go for a C+ for Sheffield United. So fairly close to you there, Billy. Stoke City up next. Phil Jagielka arrived, as we mentioned. Lewis Baker, Taylor Harwood Bellis, Josh Marder as well coming in. Liam Moore has arrived too. Another player we mentioned there. Likes of Danny Bath left. And Sam Surridge, of course, moved to Nottingham Forest. Alfie Doughty going on loan to Cardiff. Tom Ince as well, who we've just mentioned, going to Reading. How would you rate the Potters window?
Yeah, I think Lewis Baker, one that stands out for me for being exciting, and I think he came on against Hull and almost immediately made a real good impact. He's obviously got that brilliant technical ability coming through the Chelsea system, and he's one that I'm sure a lot of Championship clubs would like to have at their disposal. Good defensive reinforcements as well. Harwood Bellis, I think's exciting. Jagielka on the other side of things, experienced, but still an impressive acquisition at Championship level. What he's been doing with Derby this season, I think, perhaps goes under the radar with a lot of talk about Curtis Davies and how good he has been this season. All in all, I think it's a good window. Still got loads of quality to welcome back into the squad with injuries and stuff. So in that respect, it was a good window. Not anything too extraordinary is a common phrase I keep coming up with now, but I think it's one that probably warrants a B- again.
Okay, I'm going to give Stoke a B. Let's move to Swansea. Nathaniel Better arrived from Shrewsbury. Cyrus Christie as well on loan from Fulham, one we've mentioned already. In terms of some exits, Jake Bidwell, of course, moving to Coventry. The likes of Liam Cullen and Brandon Cooper and Morgan Whittaker all moving out on loan. Pretty quiet in terms of sort of major incomings, Billy, for Swansea. What do you make of their market?
Yeah, again, following a theme, not too much, but they haven't weakened their squad. I think that's sort of the overall message. Hannes Wolf coming in, I think he's played 3 or 4 times now already, in quick succession. But I think it's clear to see that he's got the ability, he's got that sort of risk-taking nature that you need when the rest of the team's very possession-based. And I wouldn't say don't take risks, but I think having the balance of a player that wants to run at players and knows when the correct opportunity is to do that, I think that's exactly what he'll bring. So I'm excited to see how he progresses in terms of the exits as well. Whittaker, again, another player that I'm excited for, but on another loan deal. I think that's probably best for this stage of his career. All in all, I think it's been quiet, but that they've slightly strengthened, so I'll give them a C+.
Okay, I'm going to go C for Swansea. And finally, West Bromwich Albion. Obviously, Daryl Dike was the headline arrival for pretty decent money as well, but picked up an injury, out for several weeks. Andy Carroll's come in as well on a short-term basis. That was it, though, in terms of the Baggies' arrivals. Jordan Hugill did... I've completely misread that one. Forget that. He obviously went to Cardiff. Daryl Dike, though, arriving, and Andy Carroll as well, Billy, but that was about it. How would you rate Albion's window?
Yeah, very disappointing and very unfortunate the fact that Daryl DK is going to miss a significant amount of time. A lot of excitement. I think West Brom had to seriously consider how they'd afford that. They had to, move mountains in terms of being able to finance that deal. And then for him to get injured within, sort of 2 weeks, it's not great at all. Andy Carroll coming in, I think the immediate reaction from going from this young, exciting striker to Andy Carroll, what I think some fans didn't really see it for being a really good deal. But I think what he has done for Reading and the evident quality he still possesses, you just look back at those 2 offside goals that he scored and you just think, how can somebody do that twice in a game? It's just quite incredible, really. But yeah, he had a real good impact at Reading. It wasn't just his ability to score really good goals. It was his hold up play, his link up play as well, desire to play for the shirt as well. But in terms of his pressing, I think that was quite clear to see. Obviously, took a big pay cut as well to go to Reading, showing that he just wants to play football. He's a lot of players these days, if the finance, if the deal's not right, they won't even think about it. But Carroll showed this this sort of desire to play football, and I think that sometimes goes unnoticed in football. And I think that's something that West Brom fans could appreciate. He's gritty and determined nature, but also has that class and ability to score goals. He's one that I'm excited for, because I think some West Brom fans are not too excited for him, and I think he does have the ability to change people's minds.
Okay, we'll see what happens. I will grade West Brom a D. I think Andy Carroll could potentially be a bit of a hit there, but overall, you probably felt they could have done some more business in the window. Obviously, unlucky with what happened with Daryl DK, but you still felt that perhaps Albion could add a little bit more as they challenge for the playoffs, and obviously they'll hope promotion in the coming months. That brings an end to this Championship transfer window grading show on the debate on Football League World TV. Pretty long one there, Billy. I think we've done quite a good job there. Not bad going. I did say about 20 minutes at the start of the show, but here we are, another half an hour on top of that. Coming up on Football League World TV, not long away now actually, 4 p.m. we've got the EFL midweek preview. Alfie Burns hosting that one. He's joined by Ben Wignall, looking ahead to the midweek fixtures. And then coming up tomorrow on Football League World TV, you've got the League 2 Fan Award nominations. Ned Holmes hosting that one, looking at the top performers in January in the 4th tier. Chris Thorpe will be with him. And then the debate is back at 2 p.m, grading each League 1 club's January window. Alfie and Toby will be looking at that one. Billy, thanks for joining me this afternoon. Been great to get your thoughts on every single club in the Championship. Thanks to those at home that have been watching. Do remember to subscribe to Football League World TV on YouTube. That'd be greatly appreciated. And do like this video as well if you can. That would help us out as well. But from myself and Billy, bye for now.